What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the NECA God of War Ultimate Action Figure 2-pack, Kratos and Atreus. Here we do have Kratos and Boy in the packaging. What we're going to do now is take a little break, get these two opened up, and we'll have a better look at Kratos and Boy. Stay tuned, everyone. And so here we have Kratos and Atreus posed and out of the packaging. Before we have a look at the figures, let's actually run through their accessories, because they do come with quite a few, and if I miss any, please forgive me. There are a lot to cover. We'll start with Atreus first, because he does come with the least amount of accessories. Atreus does come with two alternate left hands. He comes with a grip hand, and then he also does come with a hand for holding arrows. Atreus also does come with a knife, which looks really good in his hand, or you can store it in the back of his scabbard. Atreus also comes with a bow and arrow, which look really good. He comes with one bow and 4 arrows, and the arrows can go into his quiver on the back, so I really do like that about Atreus. Other than that, he doesn't get anything else, and Kratos gets the bulk of the accessories. So let's move Atreus off to the side, and let's talk about what Kratos comes with. Kratos here is, of course, Big Daddy Kratos. He does come with 2 alternate heads. He comes with a stern expression that he has on him right now. And he comes with a raging, angry, yelling face, which is also done really well. Kratos also does come with 2 pairs of hands. He comes with a pair of grip hands for holding his accessories. And then he also does come with a pair of fists for punching out his enemies. Kratos also does come with a knife, which can fit in either of his grip hands. And then it also does store on the holster on his back. He also does come with the Leviathan axe, which is a really good accessory. Really love the sculpt work on it. And it does store onto his back, so if you want to have him with it on his back, you can. We also do get a frost effect for the Leviathan axe, which I think looks really good. Kratos also does come with 2 fiery fists. We get a firing fist for his left hand, and then we get a firing fist for his right hand, so you can unleash the rage of Sparta. Kratos also does come with 2 pairs of the Blades of Chaos. He comes with a regular set of blades, which do look really good. I love the sculpt work on these. And then he also does come with an upgraded version of the Blades of Chaos, which can peg into his hand. They are on a chain, which looks really good. And the sculpt work on these are amazing. I really love the detailing on them. And then finally, he also does come with a flame effect for his Blades of Chaos, although we only get 1, and that is a little bit disappointing. I would have liked to see 2. He comes with a folded version of the Guardian Shield, which I really do like the way that looks. And then he also does come with a fully extended version of the Guardian Shield, which again is sculpted beautifully, and it has a lot of nice paint detail. So other than that, that's all they come with. I think I might have missed 1 or 2 little accessories, but hopefully I didn't. So what we're going to do now is actually have a look at their details one by one. So we'll start with Atreus because he is a smaller figure. And so here we do have a closer look at Atreus, and I really love the work that went into this figure. Now, I do want to point out that his head isn't 100% accurate. If anything, he looks too much like a baby. I know Atreus is young, but NECA kind of sculpted him with a baby face. He kind of did have a baby face, but it wasn't this round in the game, which is a little bit unfortunate because he kind of looks like a Gerber baby, which it's not a bad thing. It's just I would have liked to see a more accurate in-game sculpt of Atreus. Let's let the camera focus on him. There we go. I really do love the way NECA painted his eyes. You can see they are this really rich, deep blue color, and that's just really good. Eyebrows are painted wonderfully, and then you can see he does have some scarring on his face going all the way around. You can see it more on his left side than on his right, which they did a good job sculpting that. Lips are painted surprisingly well, and I think that kind of adds to the baby look to him because his lips are really bright pink. Really do like the hair on him. It is painted brown, and it has almost like a red dry brushing going through it. He kind of has like one of those Hawkeye mohawks going for him, although it's not exactly like Hawkeye's mohawk. It just reminds me of it. So that's done really well. You can see he is wearing a fur vest, which does look good, and it does have a hood on the back, although it doesn't come off. The hood is just permanently sculpted as is. You can see he does have this belt for his quiver, and then he also does have this rope running the other side. So again, the rope and the harness look really good. The quiver is also sculpted wonderfully. You can see all the nice little wrappings going around it, so that's really good. On his right arm, you can see he has his undersuit as well as some wrappings right here. We go on to his gauntlet right here, which is supposed to protect from the arrows, which I do like that little detail. You can see it just strings onto his wrist. On his hand, you can see he does have a couple of ties to his fingers, and that's mainly for the arrow, which is a little odd that he has everything for holding the arrows on this side, but on this side we get a bare hand, and I don't remember where I put his arrow shooting hand. It's somewhere on my desk right now. Here it is. You can see he doesn't have anything protecting his hand from the arrows, so I think that's accurate to archers. I'll have to double check that. You can see this arm is a little bit bare because he doesn't have to protect this from the drawback of the arrow and the bow. You can see he only has a 3/4 sleeve on this side. Moving on to his little sash right here, it kind of reminds me of the design for the God of War 3 Kratos. You can see it kind of has that Spartan look to it. It's red and gold. We have his little holster which can hold his knife, as I stated, and you can see the fur goes all the way down. It's almost like he got this from maybe a wolf. I'm not 100% sure where he got that, but you can see the leather looks really good. It's stitched right here. And then we get some more of his tunic right here. This reminds me of the God of War 1, 2, and 3 Kratos, so I really do like that little nod. And then we almost have like this Nordic padded armor. He does have these really baggy pants, which you can see they sculpted really, really well. Going onto his legs, you can see they did a phenomenal job sculpting and painting the ropes around his legs, so they did a good job with that. Although it does miss some spots in some areas, I still like the work that went into it. So overall, really liking the way Atreus came out. So with his details out of the way, let's move on to Kratos. And so here we have a closer look at Kratos, and NECA once again did a phenomenal job with this figure. Now, for the most part, he is the exact same figure we got previously single-carded, although he does have some new parts to him, which we'll go over right now. I really do like the way Kratos came out. I know there's a lot of people that criticize his skin color, saying it's a little bit too pink. Looking at in-game renderings and in-game footage of Kratos, I actually think this is pretty accurate. Kratos wasn't as chalk white as he was in the original God of War game, so he actually had a little bit of flesh tone to him, which I think this does a really good job with that. You can see he has his tattoos painted on really well, although there is a little bit of an error on mine, and I have seen this on several others where they get the red, but then there's also this like faded pink on the outside of it, and that's something I've actually seen on more than one version of this figure, so I'm pretty sure it's just a common issue. Really do like the beard, although they didn't add any white to his beard. That's one thing I'm a little disappointed, that we don't get any white in his beard. It is a darker color, and then they did dry brush an even darker brown on it, so I don't know why they did that, but not paint some gray in there. You can see his harness is, of course, sculpted really well. You can see the belt is painted well. You can see the buckle here, some clasps going all the way to the fur underneath that. Right here we do have his shoulder pad, which again has this really nice Nordic padding to it. We have the fur underneath that. We do have his little clasp where you can put the Leviathan axe to store on his back. We again have the fur right here, some leather draping over it. We do have a bare arm for his left side, and then we do have that same armor going down his right arm. Now, the new parts on this figure are his gauntlets. Now, they do look like a retool of his original gauntlets. You can kind of see the old design underneath that, but these actually do have the chains sculpted on them for the Blades of Chaos, and that looks really good. You can see the silver on it looks really good. Even on this side, they did a good job sculpting that. And then there is a little peg spot somewhere here where you can actually peg in the upgraded Blades of Chaos. So if you want to have him with the upgraded Blades of Chaos, they do plug into his gauntlet, so I really like that. You can see right here he does have a little bit of armor padding right here on his fist. On this side we just have a wrap. On the back we do have Mimir's head. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Mimir? We have his head right here. The original version did have the horn where the head is, so I do like that they did change that up a little bit. We do have a pouch right here. We have a holster for his knife. We also do have a pouch right here, which again they sculpted and painted beautifully. His little tunic, you can see they sculpted and painted this really well. You can see it's this dark brown, and then there's some lighter brown dry brushed or washed all over it. You can see the belts are done really well. The buckles painted cleanly. We have the stitch work, which again is painted wonderfully. That's something that they could have easily screwed up on, but it looks really, really nice. We do have his old little tunic right here where it's these tassels from his loincloth, his skirt piece. I don't know what you want to call it, but he does still have the original Kratos tassels, so that looks good. He is wearing pants right here, which are these really deep brown, almost black pants. His boots go all the way up to his knee, and you can see, again, painted and sculpted with phenomenal care. You can see some leather is even draping over on this side. We go on to the rest of his boots, which you can see the leather is layering over itself. We have some straps. So NECA knocked it out of the park with this figure. No doubt this is one of my favorite figures, and I'm really glad that NECA was able to give us the boy with Big Daddy Kratos. So overall, really love the way this Kratos came out. So what we're going to do now is compare Kratos and Atreus to other figures you may have in your collection. And so here we have Atreus posed next to a DC Multiverse Superman and a Marvel Legends Cyclops. Here we have Atreus posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. And finally, here we do have Atreus posed next to the single-carded God of War Kratos and the NECA God of War 3 Kratos. Here we have Kratos posed next to a DC Multiverse Superman and a Marvel Legends Cyclops. Here we have Kratos posed next to a WWE Elite Scale figure and a Mezco 1/12 Collective Popeye the Sailor Man. And so here we have Kratos posed next to the single-carded Kratos and the NECA God of War 3 Kratos. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually move on to their articulation. Now we'll have a look at Atreus' articulation first, seeing as how he is a smaller figure. Atreus does have a double ball joint in the head, so he can look up a surprisingly good distance. He can look down. He can tilt his head really well to each side, so we get a lot of attitude with him. Does turn left and right, so really do like that. His neck is also on a ball joint, so if you tilt his head to the side, that neck also moves to the side. It also moves down and back, so really good range, really full range of motion here on his head, so I really do like that. Arms are on a ball joint. They do go out to about that far. Yeah, they only go out to about that far. I might be pushing the joint a little too much. His arms do a full 360, but because the way his tunic is sculpted, it does jet his arm out to the side, which is a little bit unfortunate. He does have a bicep swivel, which works really well. Double bend in the elbow. Goes all the way up to his shoulder. He has a ball hinge swivel right here at his wrist, so we do get some up and down movement. Or we can move that joint to have an in and out swivel. And then, of course, it swivels on that peg itself. Atreus has a ball joint here in the torso, which doesn't go back all too far. It does go forward a little bit. Does tilt side to side as well as rotates. Legs are on ball hinges. They do go out to about that far, so we do get full splits with Atreus. They go forward only to about there. That's a little bit disappointing. His tunic does get in the way of articulation. His legs go further back than they go forward. That's a little depressing. We do have a thigh swivel up high. We have a single bend in the knee. Doesn't give us quite 90 degrees. And then we also do get swivel right here. We have a hinge in the foot which goes, well, it goes back, doesn't go forward, and then forward-facing pin for rocker ankles. So overall, pretty decent articulation here on Atreus. He is missing a few key points. Moving on to Kratos here, let's actually run through his articulation. Kratos does have a double ball peg as well, so he can look up really well. He can look down quite a bit. He can tilt his head side to side, so a lot of attitude with Kratos. Now, unfortunately, he doesn't have a neck joint because this is one solid sculpt. Oh, I forgot to mention his head does rotate 360. His arms are on ball joints. They both go out to about that far. They both would do a 360. This arm is a little bit hindered by his armor, but it does get out of the way. It is a soft material. We do have a bicep swivel, which works really well. Double bend in the elbow. It's a little stiff on mine, but it does work. We have that same ball hinge swivel that Atreus has. We do have in and out movement, or if you want to move that joint to have up and down movement, you can, and then of course it rotates on that peg. Kratos does have a ball joint here in his torso, so he can lean back about that far. He leans forward only about that far, can tilt side to side really well as rotate. Legs do go forward to about that far. The tunic they actually go about that far, but the tunic does push them back down. They go back quite a bit, go out almost all the way, but it does get hindered by all these pouches. He does have a swivel up high in the hip. He has double joint in the knee, which, there we go. Knee goes all the way up, so that's really good movement there. Getting his leg straightened out. He does have a hinge in the ankle, which goes forward to about that far, goes back about that far. Not too much range on the ankle. We do have a forward-facing pin for rocker ankle, and then we also do get a pretty respectable toe joint. So overall, Kratos and Atreus here are really good figures, and I am glad that they did come in a 2-pack. So what I'm going to do now is get them posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. And so here we have the NECA God of War 2-pack, Kratos and Atreus posed for my final thoughts. Overall, I love the way this set came out. They come with a ton of accessories, and it does give you different display options for Kratos. Although Atreus doesn't come with as much as Kratos, I'm still happy that we get as much as we did for this set. Now, NECA could have easily just released a single-carded version of this Kratos, and I would have bought it either way. But having a 2-pack with Atreus in it, that makes the set so much better. Atreus is a really nice figure, and the arrows do fit in nicely, although you want to be careful because the arrows are small, and you might end up breaking them if you're a little too rough. Kratos, on the other hand, is such a solid figure. There's so many things to like about him. The Leviathan axe looks great. The upgraded Blades of Chaos are probably going to be my go-to version to display him with, although the Blades of Chaos themselves are done really well. If you are looking for a Kratos and Atreus 2-pack, they are available at most specialty stores right now, so check your FYEs, GameStops, ThinkGeeks, and local comic book stores for this set. I was lucky enough to snag my version from my local comic book store, so a huge shout out to the good folks of Black Sheep Comics for getting this out to me so I could review it for you guys. If you are looking for Kratos and Atreus, they are going to run you about $50 to $60 at most places. I was lucky enough to pick up my set for $50, which is a really good price. So go out there, and if you're a God of War fan, you're going to want to have this set in your collection. With that being said, guys, I'm KingofDragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go check out all my other action figure reviews, as well as all my other NECA videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. And while you're at it, check out my Instagram account for new and exciting action figure photos, and ring that bell to be notified every time I upload a video. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.